Do you remember those games that were announced at shows like E3 and then never heard from again? Of course not. They've definitely left your subconscious by now. The only reason I thought of this video was because I was laying in bed half asleep and I suddenly remembered, where the fuck is that Capcom game? Deep Down or whatever. It was announced like 6 years ago. And that, my friends, is the subject of today's video. Those games that were announced at E3 or Gamescom and then never heard from again. The long-awaited sequel to the much-beloved Metroid Prime trilogy was officially announced at Nintendo's online E3 showcase in 2017. Although it was just a title card with the announcement that it was officially in development, fans were extremely hyped that they were finally getting another standalone Metroid Prime game for a Nintendo home console, and they were eager to hear any news detailing the game's presentation, story, and most importantly, its release date. However, after this announcement, there would be radio silence from Nintendo. When asked about it, employees would simply reply that development was going well and there would be more details soon. 2 years had passed with no word from Nintendo when finally Shinya Takahashi, Nintendo's general manager, announced that Metroid Prime 4 had been completely restarted from the ground up. Development would be shifted from Bandai Namco to Retro Studios, the original creators of the Metroid Prime trilogy. The reason Takahashi gave was Bandai Namco didn't meet the standard that Nintendo sets for their games, and development would have to be completely restarted. So given this news, it's honestly really unlikely we'll hear anything about this game anytime soon. I mean, there's a chance it'll appear in a Nintendo Direct this year, but I highly doubt it. Until then, we just gotta sit here and wait until Nintendo decides that Metroid Prime 4 is ready enough to be shown to eager fans. When Sony unveiled the PlayStation 4 at E3 2013, they showed a slate of games that were being developed for it. Games like Knack, Killzone Shadowfall, and Drive Club all looked fairly unremarkable, but par for the course launch titles. And when they did come out, that was very much the case. But there was one game shown that did look extremely interesting. Capcom's Deep Down definitely caught the attention of people watching the stream. I mean, with this incredible gameplay demonstration, it was hard to ignore how cool this game looked. It showed off some really impressive visuals at the time, and the game had an interesting trailer, especially its ending where it showed off a potential co-op mechanic. Since the game's announcement, there hasn't been much news in terms of development. The game is still being worked on, we know that. And what we know about the game itself is that it was meant to be a co-op dungeon crawler, free to play, with elements of both Dragon's Dogma and Dark Souls. And that's about it. It's clear that Capcom hasn't completely given up on this game because in 2018 they extended the copyright for it, so hopefully that's a little reassuring for those who really want to see this game eventually released. Wild was announced at Gamescom 2014 with a captivating trailer. The game was meant to be this grand adventure of prehistoric proportions. Players would be able to take control of ancient animals and learn the characteristics. There was going to be a huge procedurally generated open world, multiple animals to take control of, and online play. Wild seemed like a game that was going to blow everyone's mind with how creative and open it was. It was definitely an ambitious idea to say the least. It's been about 6 years now, and out of all the games on this list, this is the title with the least news that's come out about it. The term vaporware has been used to describe this game due to how quiet development has been. No one even knows if the game is still being worked on, and there hasn't been any notice of its cancellation. This is a game that's sitting dead in the water to me until some kind of news is released about it. At this point, it may even be a new trailer or just the announcement of its cancellation. Beyond Good and Evil 2 was teased way back in 2008 with this animated trailer. The game was going to be a prequel to the original cult classic, and after this trailer there was some leaked gameplay in 2009, but after that, the game went dark. There were rumors floating around here and there, but no definitive news about the game until 2017, almost 10 years later, where a shiny new trailer would be shown that would officially announce that the game was still in development. After this trailer, there was once again no news until E3 2018, where Joseph Gordon-Levitt told people that their art would be featured in the game, which is a cool concept, but one that seems kind of exploitative the more you think about it. Anyway, after this, there would be some gameplay shown, and the game looked extremely promising and fun, but the year is 2020 and there hasn't been any news or updates on the game beyond this point. Beyond Good and Evil 2 has been in development for a crazy long time at this point if we're using the 2008 trailer as reference. Ubisoft aren't even ready to announce what platform they're planning on putting the game on when it's finally released. This is a game that looks to be an extremely ambitious multi-platform game that has all of its users connected somehow. If the ambition is followed through, then Beyond Good and Evil 2 has the potential to be a really fantastic game if it ever sees the light of day. And to top off our list in today's video, we have Dambuster Studios' Dead Island 2. The game was originally announced at E3 2014 with an admittedly kick-ass and fun trailer. They were always really good at trailers. And Sony wanted the game to be released by the end of 2015. While that was a bold decision, it wouldn't really pay off because the game kind of spiraled into a development hell. Techland was originally supposed to head this project, but they instead chose to focus on Dying Light. So they passed on this project until Jaeger Development offered to take up the mantle. After the trailer and some gameplay was released in 2015, it was announced that Jaeger Development was no longer making Dead Island 2, and the project would be moved over to Sumo Digital, who would develop the game until its release, right? Nope, it doesn't stop there because 3 years into development, Deep Silver would announce once again that the project would be moved over to an internal team at Deep Silver called Dambuster Studios. So, while it's true the game is still in development, Dead Island 2 has been moved over so many times, I wonder if the original tone and spirit of the cinematic is even being considered anymore. This gameplay clip is 6 years old at this point, so who even knows if the game will actually look like this when it's finally released. Like Metroid Prime 4, it's extremely unlikely we'll be hearing from this game anytime soon, as it seems that even Deep Silver themselves have no idea what to do with Dead Island 2. Development hell is one long and grueling son of a bitch, and very few games have survived it and delivered an excellent experience. So, unfortunately, the future of these games looks very grim. The one I do have hope for would probably be Metroid Prime 4, because it seems like the reason why it's taking so long is that they had to restart it due to its quality. These games all have great concepts, and I'd hate to never see them. But for now, these games are sitting on the back burner of radio silence until they're ready for us to see.